Good morning, people. Urban Sentinel here. Monkeypox. Wasn't on my list of things to expect for 2022 at all. Got my clipboard, so let's talk about a few things. There's two types of monkeypox virus. There's the Central African or Congo virus and the West African. From everything that's been said so far of the cases they have confirmed, it is the West African, which is a less virulent and not as severe form of the monkeypox virus. Now, the monkeypox virus is a cousin of the smallpox virus. They're both a variola strain. However, they do share some similarities within that aspect, but they're not quite the same effective disease, as it were. Chickenpox and shingles, not close cousins. They're the varicella strain, and they have no direct connection to monkeypox. So there's no plus or minus benefit if you've had chickenpox or you've had shingles or you've had the vaccine for either of those. It's not going to help you or harm you in any way in relation to monkeypox, strictly by itself. One caveat, though, is because of the close cousin connection to smallpox, there is no actual cure for monkeypox, but you can use the smallpox vaccine as a way to treat monkeypox. The symptoms, pretty straightforward. Starts with fever, builds up with skin rashes. Maybe they seem to be almost like pimples and then they get larger, swollen lymph glands. So it's sort of like when you come down with, if you've ever had strep throat or tonsillitis, that type of thing, and your glands get swollen in your neck area. Those are little things to look for, but the symptoms last anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. So it's not something that if you feel you're coming down with something and then 3 days later you feel better, that's not monkeypox. It's not even close. This is a 2 to 4 week run of the symptoms building up and building up in your body. It's only right now, from everything they've researched, an average of 3 to 6 fatality rate. So it's not even deadly. It really comes down to how long a person goes infected and under the symptoms before getting any type of therapeutic treatment. It's transmitted basically person to person type of contact, person to animal contact, person to infected materials contact. So if there's an animal that is infected with it and you come in contact with that animal, there's a good chance that you will contract the disease from there. Bodily fluids, lesions, open sores, that sort of thing. Coughing, respiratory droplets, but larger droplets, not you breathe out like I'm talking right now and 30 feet away the air wafts it towards you. No, this is more or less the uncovered cough and sneeze where you can see the particles airborne, which those themselves drop after actually a few feet. They don't stay in the air, they don't float, they're not transmissible in that method. Now, the big thing, as we all know, what can we expect regardless of how fast this thing spreads and how wide it goes across the globe? They've already got sets of protocols set up from having the 2 years of COVID. So you're going to have several nations probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks, if cases around them or within them start increasing, even if it's not a widespread thing, even if it's less than 5%, you're going to start to see countries saying, oh, we're going to slow down people coming in from other nations that have cases, or we're going to stop people from going out and coming back if they've traveled on vacation or for business. You're going to see hot spots that may pop up, and a hot spot might be 5 or 6 cases out of 50,000. It might be 100 cases out of a million. It depends upon where they're going to set the bar. But what you can expect is the same thing with COVID. You're going to see a resurgence, as it were, of social distancing. You're going to see a resurgence of gloves and masks and sanitation equipment and things like that, and sterilizing and hygiene and all that sort of thing. But because it's a known virus and there are therapeutics to a certain extent to help with some of it, and the fatality rate is low, I feel there'll be less of a panic, but not a complete elimination. You are still going to have those people, those groups that for whatever reason were oblivious through the last 2 years as far as just having a few extra supplies in case things slow down. They're going to be back out in full force. And as all of you are aware, we haven't recovered from COVID. As it stands right now, the supply factor is pretty much still crawling. It's moving a little bit faster in some areas, some parts of the countries, some shipping, some trade is starting to pick up a bit more. There are more retail places and even online where you can start getting items and merchandise quicker. But if this happens to slow everything down again, just simply because of cautionary delays where shipping companies and transportation businesses and ports and everything slow down to take the extra precautions, you're going to see another delay. And China still currently is dealing with their zero COVID policy. If somehow something slips through the cracks and they start seeing cases of monkeypox pop up, especially in those port regions, everything in China, as far as shipping out, as far as distribution goes, as far as production goes, is going to be a complete halt. In the cases where they've had the most, those countries, you've got, I believe, one or two countries in Africa, I think India, one of the other middle European area countries, plus one or two small cases in like the UK, Canada, here in the United States. They're relatively low now, but if there becomes an increase, because again, it's 2 to 4 weeks of symptoms, and in some cases, depending upon where the person is, you may not immediately distinguish the difference between heat rash if you're in a hot, humid area and you've been working out in the sun with no cooling air, no air conditioning, whatever the case is, and actually the monkeypox virus. Now, as far as how people contract it, these few people, it's still up in the air. Not every single case has been clearly identified as to how this person versus this person versus this person contracted it. There have been a few, but not every single one. They're still working on that. But as far as everything has been told so far, you still have to have up close and personal direct contact with either an infected person, an infected animal, or some type of infected contaminated material. So again, for the monkeypox virus, it wasn't on my radar list, but it still counts as a virus, a viral outbreak, something within that category. So my plans don't change. Prepping plans don't change for most of you. We're still stocked up with the things that we have. We still take our cautionary, trips out to certain places. We still continue to look at the news reports coming in and look at our environment, look at our neighborhood, look at our city, see what's going on. So we're still ahead of the curve. So if by chance this does go another direction, similar to the way it did with COVID-19, we're already prepared. So we really don't have to worry as much. New preppers coming into it, if you're already getting started with some small steps here and there, keep going. This is not something that's going to immediately affect us in the way that COVID did, because that was a complete upheaval of the everyday order of operations. So that's all I got for today, but I just thought I'd send this thing out here. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one.